blue blood flowing through our veins. Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old-style beers out at the game. Let's go, Cubby, Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Lucho Scali.
Son Ranto.
Michael.
Son Ranto.
Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Lucho Scali.
Acquaintance be forgot, and something sign. I don't know. I don't even know what Auld Lang Syne means. So, hi, welcome to the Son Ranto Show. My name's Danny Rocket. It is New Year's Day. You just heard the voice of Mr. Michael Cotton, otherwise known as the Cubes fan. We got a lot of people out there here on New Year's Day. Little yumpers here saying Happy New Year. David Elliott saying what's up. Terry E, Happy New Year. Hi, Bernie Barron. And they're saying hi to each other. Chris Salato saying #chance, which everybody should do because, of course, it could result in you winning a Frank Chance postcard sent to you with a message of love and doom. But Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show, brought to you by the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network, with great shows like Cup of Cubby Blue, Baseball Rabbit Hole, the Cubs PS Plus podcast, and Breaks Behind the Ivy. But we are only here because of our 106 Patreon supporters who became super ranters at patreon.com/bleacherbunch. That's new. Where you can join for only $1 and be eligible to win the Patreon prize of the month, furnished by our sponsors, Matt Kammerer's Permanent Paintings and his Etsy store, where one lucky Bleacher Bunch patron will win a Ron Santo Chicago map art piece from Matt Kammerer, and you could also win a t-shirt of your choice from our other amazing sponsor, In the Clutch Shirts, because check this sucker out. I'm taking a chance, baby. Look at that.
I like that one.
Let me flex. I'm wearing my Take a Chance shirt. Got it for Christmas. And what else? You can join us at patreon.com/bleacherbunch. On this episode of the Son Ranto Show, we are going to discuss the new Cubs, the Cubs that are new. And Sammy Sosa's coming back. We might as well talk about that. Also, did you know that the Cubs were owned by private equity and it might be ruining everything?
That might explain a lot, actually. We'll get into that for sure.
Yeah. And what else? We're gonna try something new today. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat right now. And it is a link to this show. It is we go live on StreamYard. And what in the second part of our show, what we're going to do is we're going to have people, we're going to see if this works. And you don't have to go on camera. You don't have to use your camera. You could just be audio only if you'd like. But we're going to do like a call-in portion of the Son Ranto Show. So the link I'm dropping right now is to allow you to come into the green room. There's only so many spots available. You could actually, given that link, you could come into the green room and just watch the show if you'd like instead. But that's not as fun. So yeah, StreamYard.com and then a bunch of numbers and letters. I just dropped the link, but we'll be announcing later on in the show when that's going to go on. We're also going to be taking some suggestions for the bitch clock and spin the win, or I should say, we're going to take suggestions for the Wheel of Cubs grievances, and then we're going to spin the bitch clock, maybe with you, Michael, maybe with me, maybe with some of the people that show up to hang out with us today on New Year's Day. Finally, we're going to have a visit from Cubstradamus. He's going to be live in the studio with us. And, of course, TFCs and some announcements. #chance in the chat. How's that for an intro? Happy New Year, everybody. What's going on, Cotton? How are you?
That was a lot. That was a lot.
I know. I need to learn to talk faster.
Corey Furlong in here saying 111 on a Thursday. It's not Thursday, Corey, by the way.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
He says, I'm a man of routine. obviously not enough of a man of routine that he even knows what day it is. But that's, I mean, hey, that's a good point.
It is a good point.
The routine show, Danny, I think that's going to become, and I think you announced this the last time, that's going to become the actual Bleacher Bunch named show, and Son Ranto is going to
be the redheaded stepchild of that show. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a little more podcasty. Sometimes we'll do the live show like we're doing now, and sometimes you'll just get us in your ears depending on what our schedule is like.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a weird year. You know, a lot's going on this year. I'm doing a bunch of shows. I'm going to Poland. We wanted to add more people to what the Bleacher Bunch means. And so not only Sarah and Infield Fly Girl and Mike Wall are going to be involved from Cubs PS Plus podcast, but also Jeff Rogowskis. And then like all the family of the Son Ranto show and those other people that we're going to bring in for Bleacher Bunch. Bleacher Bunch kind of feels like we're always going to be doing like an old Ranter roundtable or something like that. So like whatever's going on, then we can include more people and stuff. And, that's what it's all about really, is like getting the family together. And that's going to be a great place to be able to do that.
Including your Get to Know a Ranter. Like I've really actually liked those segments, and that's a show we can keep that going. We can keep people from and bring in so many more voices, because we're going to bring in all the people from the Bleacher Bunch, but also Bleacher Nation,
Cubs Insider, all the other podcasts, Kyle Stanley,
all those guys can come in and chat with us in there. So I'm looking forward to the new this new era of Bleacher Bunch, and I do have a new season. If you've been listening, the Baseball Rabbit Hole just hit the 9th inning of the second season, actually for the second time. But I'm working on a new season. I've got 2 episodes written. So
great. That's exciting. And it's just a way for us to do more things, There's so many great voices out there in the Cubs podcast world and in the blogosphere. And it's just, it's great to be involved with everybody. So look for that in the coming year. So I am excited, but I will say 2024 ended pretty shittily for me. Holy shit. I mean, what a terrible year. The Cubs were boring. My mom died, to bury the lead. And then 2 days before the year's over, and I was kind of expecting this, but my entire building got evicted. So this is dozens of families. Private equity took over the building from the old lady that once ran it and charged us very reasonable rent. And now that's all over. So I'm going to have to probably move far away from Wrigley. And it's the end of an era, and one that's been forced upon me. I'm not happy about it, but we'll get into it later in the TFCs. But that sucked. I also lost the Waddle and Sylvie contest again.
What the? It's rigged against you.
It is. There's no way I can win. The only thing I think I could probably do is write the most pandery song to Waddle and Sylvie, and then finally they'll let me win because I just used every show reference from their year, and I'll win. Because that really is what the contest is. Unlike the Son Ranto Show parody contest, where you are rewarded, even though Johnny won by pandering, you are rewarded for really for just making us laugh the hardest. That's it. Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, and of course, I don't listen to Waddle and Sylvie. I'm in Iowa City, so I don't get it. And I also wouldn't listen to them if I was there, probably. But who does win? I get the feeling that
some guy always wins.
You are guy. And you are a professional, but I get the feeling like they think you're like more of a professional at this, and somehow that disqualifies you.
Somehow I don't need money. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Apparently I don't need $6,000 in Jewel's groceries, even though I'm being forced out of my apartment. No, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
they act like you're some sort of like professional, and you're just rolling in the dough off of this music that you make.
Well, the point is, go look up the median income of a musician, and then you'll kind of get it real quick. Just go look that up real quick. So anyway, not only that, but I've had a very I say eventful kind of time of it as well. This the last couple of weeks off, I went and played where Ronnie Woo Woo is. It's St. Joseph's out on the northwest side, and I just want to share this video. We went out there and we went all with my mom's old sing-along carols books. And I went out there and played for a bunch of residents at St. Joseph's, and a lot of Cubs fans came, including John Pickus. We're going to hear from him later in the show. He's got a worst case scenario that we're going to play at the end. It's freaking awesome. And anyway, let me just share this video and how I ended the set. It's pretty awesome.
Go, Cubs, go! Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. Go, Cubs, go! Go, Cubs, go! Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. Go, Cubs, go!
So that's me, Ronnie Woo Woo on the mic, and then a bunch of the residents out there. And I do want to share an early TFC about something somebody commented on the TikTok of that video. And there was a couple of TFCs on the same video. The first one says, from Dump on the Ump, I fucking hate the Cubs so much. If I were there, I would be tipping over every fucking wheelchair I could.
I hate the Cubs so much, I will beat old people into the ground. That's what he said.
And then Mac Diesel said, Brewers eat your lunch, you fibs. What's fib? Fucking idiot bastards.
Maybe.
Sure. And I like what Jim and a bunch of numbers said. I bet that group of people could beat the Cubs. I kind of agree with that. So anyway, we had fun over there. Thanks for Janet for putting it together.
I wanted to say something here real quick, just to clear up maybe for people who are just listening or whatever. Ronnie Woo Woo has been in medical rehab. What exactly happened with him, Danny? Like he fell and it was like his hip or something. But that's the kind of rehab. So sometimes Danny just says rehab. And with Ronnie's long and checkered past, I just want to make sure that everybody understands he hurt himself and he was doing like physical therapy rehab, and it wasn't anything else that word might bring up in your mind. And
I believe he already got out of that rehab, and he's gonna be in I think he's having surgery tomorrow, which is on his prostate. So good luck to him. I mean, he's an older man, he's above his 80s, and you take your chances at that age, but he was up there dancing and singing and is the Ronnie Woo Woo you remember. So good for him. And also I don't have any pictures of this, but I did what somebody else does. I got to get those of I played the Lost Boys as well. I played their Christmas party. That was a lot of fun. And they gave a ton of presents to kids. They had a ton of stuff. They even had stuff left over. They were like trying to give it to me. I was like, I don't want any of this stuff. They're like, you know any children? So that's great though. But better more toys than not enough toys, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the kids all sang along. It's always fascinating to me how the kids don't know these songs anymore. You see the adults singing, like the grandmas are singing. They're 5 golden rings, and the kids are like, what? Well, Lords of Leaping. What's this guy talking about?
Nobody sings together anymore. You know what I mean? Like it used to be, and this is crazy how old we are, but our families were actually maybe the last, like our kids, like us being kids and stuff, was maybe the last time that they would kind of do stuff like that, because prior to us, like that's what families would do at Christmas parties. Somebody would have a piano or whatever, and they would, your grandma would play the songs on the piano and the family would sit around and they would sing. I mean, I remember being a little kid and not wanting to do it at first, right? Like the whole family would be there and they would start singing and you don't want to do it. You're 6, 7 and you feel embarrassed or whatever. And especially with the way that I sing. But eventually you kind of get into it and you go. But yeah, people don't do that anymore.
Well, I do, but I grew up doing that stuff like every day. It wasn't just like a Christmas thing. Like my family was all musicians, so I'm lucky that way. And in fact, it was weird. Like other kids would be like, "Oh my God, people really do this!" Like because our family at Friday night we're like singing through the entire Les Mis songbook, playing all the parts. So it is rare that people do that though.
The closest you get now is karaoke. Like people will have a karaoke machine. I was at a friend's house just the other night, and they brought out a karaoke machine. They're like, "Does anybody want to do this?" And we all said no.
Okay, we'll put it away.
There are other things to do.
So I went down to Wrigley yesterday to I didn't get to see the game between the Blackhawks and the Blues, but I went down there and kind of checked out the Fan Fest. I got a couple of pictures from it. There were all these varying games of shooting a puck into a net, or like shooting a puck. Then they had like some giant inflatable NHL guy. They had, and then I went around Wrigley Field, and there was a place called Gretzky's Basement set up in one of the lower floors of one of the brownstones across the street. And I was like, is this like Bill's basement? Like Gretzky's Basement doesn't necessarily sound like a place I would end up.
Would it be amazing if you went in there and Wayne Gretzky was literally just like in his underwear on like a really shitty couch, and he's like watching hockey on a TV sitting on milk crates or some shit?
Yeah. And you just hang out with him for the afternoon. That's Gretzky's Basement. And then they had Wrigley.
And every time you try and talk to him for any reason, he's like, "Shh, stop, shut up. I'm watching the game.
Game's on. Shut up." And then they got the NHL Winter Classic on the marquee there. That's a great shot. I bet you that makes the calendar, which, by the way, is now for sale at sunranto.com/calendar. I put it up this morning, getting that thing ready. But isn't that cool? It kind of looks good. You got the Blackhawks logo. You got the NHL. And then
it really does look good.
Yeah, it looks great. It was a pretty crummy day yesterday, too, as I felt bad for those people. But Murphy's was decked out, said Wrigley turns Ivy into ice. Winter Classic at 4. And then at the Fan Fest, they had this old Vienna sausage truck for some reason. I just thought I'd show. I mean, that's an old ass truck. It looks like from 1932 or something.
When I saw these pictures out on Discord, which these are things you get when you're on Discord, is awesome stuff like this. So pay to get in there. Yeah. But yeah, I saw this. I thought they were actually selling Vienna sausages out of it, but no, they're just
next door.
It's just a truck.
No, next door they got the sausages, but they look like regular hot dogs to me. So they made it. They're dressing up the hot dog. This is their answer to the Wienermobile, I would say. So they had kind of these banners everywhere with the Blackhawks and pregame, so it looked pretty good. But it still was stupid that they took down the Christmas tree. I don't know why they did that, but
well, I mean, it's not Christmas, but I don't know why they felt like they had to do it before Christmas.
Yeah, well, and usually you don't take your Christmas tree down till the day after New Year's.
I mean, a better idea
or whatever, mid-January, it doesn't matter.
Just redecorate it in all Blackhawks crap.
Yeah, or put up a Blackhawks tree, but instead they erected a giant stage where the tree was. So I guess they did need the stage. Smashing Pumpkins played. I listened to the game a little bit on the Spanish radio because Miguel and Jorge had that. Roberto Ramos, Captain Cubbo, was there. He's saying in the chat.
But was he Captain Hawko?
I don't know. If you've got pictures, Roberto, send them to me right now, and I will put them on the show. But you know who else was there is PCA and Michael Bush. They were at the Winter Classics. That's pretty cool that they're hanging out there. I mean, shows a little team spirit, wouldn't you say?
I mean, if the team is, well, no, I was going to say the owners, but it's not because the Ricketts don't own the Blackhawks, but they do own the Wrigley Field, I guess.
No, but we're going to talk a little bit later about how the Ricketts are kind of owned by some private equity bros that now own my. It's probably the same assholes that kicked me out of my house.
Here's the thing too, is like, I mean, it's awesome that they were there, and why wouldn't you want to go be there? That'd be pretty cool. But where do they actually live in the off season? Probably like Arizona.
Yeah, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
for them to come in, even if it is just, I mean, they probably like hockey. It's their ballpark. That's where they play. They probably feel some ownership of it. Maybe they're friends with some of those guys. I don't know. But
did they
I
get
did
to throw out the first puck or something? Like that would have been cool.
throw out the first puck. Ah! Like, there's no mitt. They just got those big gloves on. So then I did do up the mom shrine. Like here it was at Christmas time. And so it looked pretty good, pretty festive. You see the lights. So one of the strands burnt out, and then I got it going for New Year's Eve. But check this out. Here it is the next day. Well, this is the next day. Here's the night. So I got all these like angel lights going on the mom shrine. You see them draped over the obvious shirt at the top that says Mama Ranter Forever. And then there's just, I lit it all up. I made it look like there's gold streamers all over it. So it's real New Year's-y. And then there's like, you can kind of zoom it. If you can see right underneath the shirt, there's a 25, and I'll zoom in there. So it's just in 99-cent candles I got from Jewel. So, check this out. Went down there to do it, and this guy comes up to me. His name is Chris. He works at Wrigley, and there he is there. He helped me put all this stuff up, and we talked the entire time. Basically, we're the exact same age. And so we were just kind of like thick as thieves, could hit it off really easily, just like somebody you would meet at a bar, except for we met at my mother's shrine. Nicest dude in the world. So shout out to Chris. Thanks for helping me put all that stuff up. I'm going to keep doing it because it is seriously like a topic of conversation. I can go every time I go down there, somebody's looking at it, taking a picture. And every now and again, I'll be like, hey, you want to know who she was? Or, I'm her son, and I'll start talking to him. And then we have the best conversations. But now a lot of people know because I keep doing weather reports from the mom shrine. They know, oh, that's the guy with the mom shrine and the weather. It's just another thing about me right now. So I don't know if it's going to last the winter, but I've certainly had a good time. I am a little disappointed that as you can see the next day, the champagne bottle is still there. I'm like, dude, back in the day, I mean, we would have had no respect. If we saw a champagne in a bottle in a shrine in my mid-20s, I'm drinking that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Back Gen X we didn't revere anything. So I'm just a little disappointed in Wrigleyville that somebody did not pop that champagne last night. I left it there to be drunk by a drunken Blackhawks or Blues fan. I don't care which. You pour it all over yourselves. That's what it's there for. So if you're living in the neighborhood, if you're still around, the moment is past, but get down there and drink that thing. I don't drink anymore. So
right there. I mean, and you're right. Back in the day, no reverence for anything like that. They'd have drank it, and now it's like people. I'm a little disappointed, honestly, in X that we now have reverence for things. I'm like, no, bring back the old disaffected. We don't give a fuck. That's what I want.
Yeah. I believe they just got elected president, actually, unfortunately.
Well, God. Okay.
Yeah. We didn't mean like that. We meant in the drunkenly drink from the shrine way, you jerks.
Yeah.
And
and we like don't elect old ass people to do things. No, I don't know. We had at least, and you all know my issue with old people. We had no respect for old people. Like we just didn't give them any time of day. Just let them go.
I remember one time I tried to get a job at a bar, and he wouldn't hire me because I had earrings. He goes, take those fucking, this and that earrings out of your ear, and or nobody's gonna hire you. And I was like, fuck you, old man. Like screamed and spit on the ground. You know what I mean? Like those were the days. Call me that.
Captain Cubbo says he sent pictures.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll get him going. We're already 25 minutes in this show. We haven't said a thing about the Cubs. Really. These are great. All right, cool. I'll send these to my phone. But what'd you end up doing last night? You hung over at all, or?
Oh, no. I'm an old man. I just sat on the couch and watched. Netflix. Like that was it. And then we went to bed. We actually went to bed around 11. I stayed up like playing games on my iPad until midnight, and my wife was already asleep. So I woke her up, gave her a kiss, and then I watched fireworks out of my window because there were fireworks going off down by the river somewhere. So
down by the river.
Yeah, but that was it.
I made it to about 11:20.
You were trying to stay up, just couldn't.
I was trying. I was doing stuff. I was because now that we're kicked out, like I don't know what to do. So I'm just like, well, might as well just start packing and cleaning and getting ready to go. But so I was doing that, but then I was just like, oh God, I'm so tired. I've like had a bit of a sinus infection and trying to fight that, and so I just was too tired. Here's Captain Cubbo last night at the game. Where is he underneath that bear costume? Oh my God.
That is wild. Yeah.
Yeah. That is wild. He's got another one too. It's these chicks kissing him. Let me just put this in can you see that?
There we slide it over just a little bit further and we'll see the other one. But yeah.
That's what she said. Yeah. So great. I mean, that sounds like I wanted to go, but instead I went to my sister's and played a game and hung out with my new nephew. And that was quite nice. So, well, let's get into some of these new Cubs real quick. And then remember, in the second part of this show, we're going to take your calls. They're not really calls. They're studio links. You can come in either as a video window or you can come audio only, but I'll drop the link in the chat.
Terry
just
E.
so that it's there.
Terry E says, I'm at the age that I wake up around midnight, but it's not to celebrate New Year's.
Yes, to take a leak, but it takes you, 3 minutes to finish. So but there's a bunch of new Cubs. I mean, the Cubs actually have been active. I mean, you got the Kyle Tucker trade, that's the big one that we got. The Cody Bellinger trade changes the team considerably on that Cody for Cody action. Cody Poteet salary dump, but still it's a thing. And who do you want to talk about first? I don't know. Here's all the transactions. We got lefty Caleb Thielbar. They traded Matt Mervis and cash for Vidal Sassoon, otherwise known as Vidal Brujan, but I'm going to call him Vidal Sassoon because that is way more fun. We signed free agent Carlos Perez to a minor league contract, which I do wonder how many Carlos Perez's have played in the major leagues because it's got to be at least 43.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, that's like a
John Smith.
Yeah, I was just going to say John Smith. Exactly. Well, and he's another catcher because the Cubs, I don't know. If you need a job this offseason, let the Cubs know that you're a catcher of some sort. They will sign you just immediately until they realize you're not a catcher, and then they'll drop you again.
Then they'll trade. Well, or you could be a catcher and you'll get traded to the White Sox for money, which then you'll trade to the Marlins the money with Matt Mervis, who never got a chance for the Cubs. Really, not never. I shouldn't say that. He had 100 at bats or whatever, but
he barely got a chance.
And then it kind of fell apart for him. But either way, these are our moves. And then there's a slew of minor league signings, which I just wanted. I'm just bringing these up for the names. That's the only reason these guys are here, because there's some names in here, guys. Darlin Ventura. Darlin is his name. Oh, my darling.
That is, that's a wild one. Okay.
These are all minor leagues, by the way. Giovanni Villarreal. That's pretty good.
It's a good name, and you get if this is the old days and you had to sign your name on things, you would get a hand cramp just writing it once.
Yeah, there's double N's, double L's, double R's. I mean, lots going on. Then you've got Anthony Felice. That's pretty boring. That's Pete Smith, basically.
Yeah.
And then Johnny McPhee, but Johnny spelled Jahni. And I'm guessing a heart over the I. He's an outfielder.
Right, because McPhee, there weren't enough letters in that name that didn't sound like you didn't pronounce them properly, so they just added a few in the first name as well.
Well, the McPhee with a PH is pretty fat with a PH.
That's what I'm saying. They have two H's in this name that don't sound like there's an H at all.
But this is my favorite. Jewbreaker Saleya.
Jewbreaker Saleya. Wow, that's a long one.
You break it, you brought it. So, Jewbreaker Saleya, welcome to the Cubs. God, I hope he gets a shot. Right-handed pitcher. Jose Urena, I think that's Urena with a Enye, but
yeah,
now,
I think so too.
Is that the same Jose Urena from the Marlins?
I believe so. And didn't he? Yeah, he's been around pitching for a while, is my guess.
I kind of wanted the Cubs to get this guy a long time ago because, he was
like when he wasn't old and washed up.
Yeah, like back. I'm looking back, like maybe back in 2018 when he had a 3.98 ERA. Pitched 174 innings. He hasn't done that since then. So 109 innings for Texas to a 3.80 ERA. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the same guy, I'm looking. Right. It's not in his baseball reference page. Somebody tell me if this is the same guy. Because there could be two. This is when.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since we've talked Urena. Maybe a couple of years. He might be retired by now, and we just don't know.
Well, no, he's not. I'm looking at his stats here, and he pitched in 2024. That's what I'm saying. He was then 109 innings. So this it's got to be the same guy.
It's just weird that a guy like that, 109 innings, you said a 3.80 ERA?
Yeah.
Why a minor league contract?
Yeah, it's got to be a different guy, right?
Right. That doesn't make any sense at all because not right. Like the Cubs, sure, put him on a minor league contract, but why wouldn't he hold out for another team to get a better contract, like an actual major league contract?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find the transactions here. They move everything around all the time. Here we go. Because I can click on that exact player and see if it is indeed the same guy. Because you're absolutely right. Because I didn't even really realize that he was in. Oh no, it's a different guy. This guy's 18 years old.
Okay. Alexander Miller. About all I know about Jose Urena is that he has next to zero command of his fastball unless it's to hit Ronald Acuna.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That is right. Yeah. And then, but no, this is a different guy, and he's 18 years old.
Makes sense that it's a minor league contract if he's 18 years old.
Maybe there is no Enye, and Urena is right. And then you get Anhuar Garcia, Anhuar, Huar. We did sign Carson Kelly, so that finally happened. I thought we did it before, but or at least reported it like we did it. And then Luis Mata is another guy. So that's everybody. But let's talk about, I don't know, let's go backwards. And then we got Ben Heller, too. A Heller of a pitcher. Here is Thielbar. Corey Thielbar, is that his name? Caleb. All right. Caleb Thielbar. Whatever.
This is the greatest baseball podcast ever. The stats are right in front of you, and you're like, what's this guy's name again?
Well, I have the stats, not his name. Caleb. No, it's in the notes. Caleb Thielbar. He's a lefty. Apparently he had a little bad luck last year. Well, they're stockpiling these guys, and we'll see what happens. But nobody's a really big, great signing, I mean,
no, but it's funny because over the last couple of years, we have talked about the dearth of lefties on this team. Like they just haven't had them, and it only took them 3 years, but they finally realized, you know what? How about we just sign some of these lefties and just see if any of them work out, because we're not making it without lefties.
Well, yeah, and I guess this guy
we had starters, of course, but nobody in the bullpen. I mean, we would have like one, maybe two every year in the bullpen to start the season.
Yeah, and now we will have this guy, ostensibly, who had a 5.32 with Minnesota last year, so that's not in 47.1 innings, 53 strikeouts in those innings, though. And then He's been with Minnesota since 2020. There's a huge gap in his career between 2015 and 2020. And apparently, for a while, he was working at Driveline as a coach. So that's kind of interesting that you signed this veteran arm. And he's just going to be maybe part pitching coach, part. He fits into their, I guess, their pitching infrastructure with the pitch lab. And, if these guys are willing to sign here, or it's usually because they probably have a couple offers on the table, especially if you're a left-handed pitcher and kind of knows what they're doing. You could play with a lot of different teams, but they're going to choose the Cubs if they do like the infrastructure. So that's a good sign, I guess, that this guy would even want to come here. Hopefully he's good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, hopefully they're all good.
53 strikeouts in 47 innings versus 24 walks. It's not terrible. 156 whip I don't like.
Yeah, that's
ERA.
That's where we're looking at bad stuff. And that 5.32 ERA means that when he wasn't striking those guys out, he was given the runs up.
Brett Taylor seemed to think a lot of it was BABIP problems. So we'll see. I've heard that kind of nonsense before. It's like, hope the wind blows in when he's pitching, So the next guy who is also a pitcher that we got in some Cody on Cody action was Cody Poteet. Also pitched with Miami, then with the Yankees. We got a couple of Yankees now on the team. The other guy who was the guy they got last year with the Jack Neely.
Yeah.
And we seem to like their system. But he was pretty good. 24 innings only last year. Poteet. He's got a 2.22 ERA.
Well, and that 24 innings is 4 starts and 5 games, which, I mean, that's actually not too bad. I mean, four starts, I mean, you're averaging over 5 innings per game. I guess I don't understand what the Yankees don't want from this guy.
Well, they wanted Cody Bellinger, and Cubs were like, eat the money, give us Poteet, because
right.
Was he hurt? Because I'm looking at his minor league numbers from last year. He was in the minors for 53 of these innings. They used him primarily as a starter. And no, actually only as a starter. But I can't imagine that Poteet is going to be in the Cubs rotation. I'm hoping we get actually somebody else that's even better than all the guys we have,
right?
Somehow. But anyway, it seems like a decent arm.
Well, he's young. He's only got 3 years in the league, so he's probably still got options. They can move him up and down. He can. Yeah, he's got 3 years in the league. That means he's still going to have options, which means they can put him at AAA and use him if they need him. Or maybe he makes the team because somebody is, to start, and then they can move him down if he struggles and bring somebody else up. I mean, it's not a bad idea to have as many good arms as you can get. And I don't know, these numbers look pretty good. The years with Miami in 2021, he had a 4.99 ERA over 7 starts, but that's his rookie year, and he dropped that by an entire point the next year. But that was only 2 starts and then 12 relief appearances. So, but it's getting better. That's good.
Yeah, and Terry E said Poteet had Tommy John in 2022, was out 23 and had triceps problems. See that his 23 is and so that's interesting. But it's like,
well, we know that
good.
We know that you get Tommy John and Jed's like Google alert goes up. So he's been looking at him for.
So then we also got, and I might as well stick on the pitchers, Ben Heller, who apparently according to Brett Taylor at Bleacher Nation and his actual stats, he managed a ridiculous 40.7 K rate at AAA for the Pirates. 40.7. It's pretty good.
It is pretty
guys.
good, but his big league numbers don't look like that.
Well, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but he did have an 11.25 ERA in the big leagues with the Pirates. So a whip of 2 is not great. He's journeyed around also from the Yankees system, and then he was with Atlanta a little bit. So Ben Heller, though, I mean, they're just stockpiling these dudes, you know? So we'll see. I guess he's 33 years old, so, you know.
Yeah.
He's the new Michael Fulmer. Here we go.
They're always exciting.
None of these guys are.
Yeah, they're always looking to catch that lightning in a bottle for a couple of months and see if they can flip them for something else later.
Yeah, unless they need them because they're good. And then this is the Vidal Sassoon is the last guy we got, and I don't know. Just I guess he was a big prospect. He's played in the Dominican League. He's played in the minors a bunch since he was like 17 years old. He's had a pretty good success, got 800 OPS in the minors. In the majors, though, only 531. So this guy needs to prove he can hit, but apparently he can play defense all over the place, infield, outfield. So he's another one of these guys, utility dude. We'll see. But he's going to get a chance to Miles Mastrobuoni, Nick Madrigal, line him up.
Yeah, I mean, that showed in 4 years in the major leagues, and it's not a ton of time, but he's a sub 200 batting average. I mean, yeah, if you can play defense, it's great, but defense, as much as people want to tell you, oh, well, it's like you have to have the run prevention, you do. But that's not going to keep you in the league. Like you do, it is still an offense-oriented stat system and league. Like if you can't do better than 189 or whatever, you're never going to make it.
I think we can all agree the Cubs has focused on run prevention over the last few years and not run scoring, which is why they are boring. But we got Kyle Tucker now, so maybe, but we got rid of Bellinger, so we'll see. The other big news is Corbin Burns went to the D-bags, which kind of pissed me off because I'm like, it didn't seem like it was such a ridiculous contract that the Cubs couldn't have done something like that and slotted everybody back and been really good. But they're like, nah, we're not going to do that with the Bellinger money. And,
but did Burns want to go there? Like I got the feeling that. Well, but he's getting, look, he's not old, but he's getting towards the end of his career. Maybe he just wants to play near where he lives and finish out his career. I mean, I honestly don't know why these guys make a lot of these decisions. I know a lot of it is like, oh, huge money or whatever. But if it's like 5 million here to 5 million there, like difference, why don't they just choose the one that they like better? Like, Juan Soto, he's just like, oh, Yankees, you guys are dicks. I'm going to go over here for a couple, because they're not dicks. That's why I'm doing this. Like, to me, that would make a little more sense. Of course, these are all young men a lot of times. And I think a lot of us make the mistake of chasing the dollar and just continuing to chase the dollar until we're in our mid 30s. And then we're like, maybe I should have just stayed at that job I had when I was,
I was happier. I would have been promoted. Yeah. Exactly. I fired an agent like that once. He was one of the top agents for voiceovers. And I just got sick of him. And he fired 2 other agents that I really liked. And I went with them to their agency. I'm like, why didn't I stay at the big agency instead of going to the small one? Like, what was I thinking? And I had my reasons back then, but I think it was probably a mistake. So, whatever. You make mistakes in life. You try not to cry about it. But here's a mistake that the Cubs made. It's official. Over the luxury tax. What a bunch of maroons. Fools. And for what? And they didn't even blow through. They were over by $3 million fucking measly dollars.
Oh, let me just point out somebody that was on the Cubs team last year that I think he made 3.8 million, was the trade for that Morel for
Paredes.
I'm already fucking forgetting
because
his
he's
name.
not on the team anymore.
I know, but I was in my head. I had Parrot in my head, not Paredes, and I'm like, I know it's not Parrot. Like I can't say that, but yeah.
But Paulie want a third baseman. Paulie want a third baseman.
But literally, that guy probably he took a lot of that 3 million was just having his weak ass defense and even weaker ass offense on the team at the end of the year for no reason.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Yeah, no, that and that's what did it.
Yeah.
So the what else? Oh yeah, there was an article in Bleacher Nation. I did want to bring it up a little bit, but it talked about how the Cubs were owned by private equity partially, and that same private equity company has stakes in other teams too. So they're just like, so they don't really care who wins, I guess. They're just, hey, either way, we're gonna make money. And obviously, we know that is the business anyway. Papa Rick has told us that. He's like, no matter what, we're gonna make money off you. Win, lose, you guys come in, drink the beer. But I thought this was interesting and this is what, here, let me just put it up because I did screenshot it. Where is it? Oh yeah, here. It says, meanwhile, this from Brett. This is a quote, I believe, from Jesse Rogers' article, I believe. Meanwhile, private equity investment has ownership answering to more than just a handful of local minority investors like it did previously. The bottom line is more of a concern than ever, with some industry observers believing the Cubs won't sign a mega deal for a player before the next labor agreement is negotiated with the players after the 2026 season. And then Sportico said that this Arcto Sports Partners had invested in at least 6 MLB teams as of March 2022, including the Cubs. Also the Dodgers, Red Sox, Giants, Padres, and Astros. So it is not clear whether that's the only private equity firm that has a stake in the Cubs, nor is it clear how large that stake is. MLB rules reportedly allow teams to sell up to 30% of their franchise equity to private equity firms, with no individual firm holding more than 15%. Also, Theo Epstein took an advisory role at this outfit, Arcto Sports Partners.
Oh my God. Okay. So this sucks in many ways, but if people don't quite understand, private equity it's not like a real business. It's kind of come up. These people, they get together, a bunch of people who have money. They go and they buy a thing, and then their only purpose is to
milk it.
Is to milk it. Like there's no thought. Private equity does not care about long term in any way, right? Which is why. So, Toys R Us, the reason they went under, private equity, like a private equity firm bought them.
Red Lobster.
A lot of Red Lobster, yeah, and a lot of times what they do is that they own a lot of these other things that have a lot of debt, and then they'll buy a thing, they'll attach the debt to that, and then. And that is what like starts to drive them down. And then they start selling off the real estate and, the actual physical buildings and things like that, the assets, so that they can make money for their private equity firm and the investors in the equity firm. They do not care about the other thing. And like these things are getting into everything. But
they don't care about the longevity, they just, and if that's keeping the Cubs from signing a mega deal, that's pretty disheartening that they'd be like, actually, you guys are in a good state financially. Your bottom line's looking good. You add another 20 million to it. We're not going to be making as much money as we could. So we're going to need you to just like stay out of the big boys league. And we'll just do that with the Dodgers and the Yankees and these other fucking teams. So.
Right. And it's so frustrating because it does kind of make you understand. And who knows, like they say this company is in with all these different teams, but the Dodgers, they may only have like 1%. Whereas with the Cubs, maybe they have 15% and they have more of a voice, right? So, but it's like, it does kind of make sense now when you think about it. So the argument out there is always the Cubs spend enough money. They're in the top, blah, blah, blah. And everybody wants to argue that. And then at the same time, people are saying the Cubs don't spend enough money. And that's confusing to people. Well, the idea is that year to year, they do spend enough money to win. But because they don't put any of that money projected out for future growth, they don't spend enough money, right? Because it's like every year they put out this $230 million roster, but it's filled with guys that they hope catch lightning that year.
On shorter contracts. Yeah. Like Kyle Tucker, we'll see what happens. Kyle Tucker's the prime example. You get him on the 1 year, you only got to pay that. You trade Bellinger to seemingly do it, in your brain. Although you didn't even have to do that. Like, Dodgers keep them both. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we'll figure out what to do with them. Like, doesn't matter.
Oh, they keep them both and sign them for 10 years.
Yeah. So so Kyle Tucker, will they try to do something with him at the end of all this? If they don't, I think then this private equity situation is maybe the thing that's keeping it from happening, because they are, ever since Jason Hayward, that's been it. Like, even if Corbin Burns didn't want to come here, there were plenty of other pitchers that they could have gone out and got. Max Fried, they were connected to. There were a couple of the guys, even in some of the trades that would bring a guy over for a longer period of time. They seem to be risk averse there. To risk averse in general, we've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, because you can't control how deep this thing is going to go. Like, if you go 8 years out, you can't control what's going to happen in those next 8 years, except for you do know it's probably going to be a better deal overall. But they don't care about that. They want the money now. And Lil Yumper says, so you are saying they aren't spending it intelligently, and then little winky emoji. Well, it depends on what your version of intelligently is. If you want to milk the company for the money right now, then they are. But if you want to build longer success, then they're not. It's intelligently is a lot of different things to a lot of different people, I think.
Well, I think that what the private equity bros that are buying my building are doing things intelligently. They're just ruining a bunch of people's lives while they do it. I think that the Cubs are making plenty of money. So if you're just intelligently trying to make money, then no, you don't want to sign Shohei Ohtani for $800 million of your money, or Juan Soto for your money, when you will make way more money by not signing those guys and not being as good because of it. Now, there's only one Juan Soto. There's only, one of Shohei Ohtani, but still, you're not even in the conversation for the Soto one. And, what that does long term, I don't know, to the team, if they're just going to run out the good enough gang, just to be in the conversation, to get fans to show up and pay $15 for a beer, or 16 next year, or 17 the year after that, and all that stuff. It's just all in their business model, but it's
and private equity is not about employees. It's about the assets. They do not care about the employees, and if they can, so it kind of makes sense that they're not going to spend that. But
Robert says lately it's been that 2-year contract that's been the issue. Mancini on the 2-year, Barnhart on the 2-year. It's or Nick Madrigal could fit. It's like, well, we'll see what we can get out of this guy. And then they just give it all the chances in the freaking world to like work, and it never freaking works. And you're like, dude, just go get somebody good, and we don't have to deal with this crap.
Yeah, exactly. So real quick though, Danny, I did want to talk about Kyle Tucker real quick, and for a specific reason, and this may be in the whole intelligent, like what is intelligent to you, what is intelligent to other people. So I was listening to Cup of Cubby Blue a few weeks back. You and Sarah were having a great conversation, and it was before Bellinger got traded. And you were going back and forth. And I had kind of had this thought while you were talking, and then and it's because I think you guys were just about to get there, but you never quite did. So you're talking about the log jam that we had out there. We have, PCA, we
Canario, Alcantara, Tap, then the regular guys, Hap, Saya.
Yeah, say a hat. So, and we basically had 4 big league guys. Then you had PCA, who is probably, you could consider like a 4A guy at this moment because he just hasn't had enough time. Well, here's the thing. The little bit that you guys didn't quite get to, why is Hap automatically our left fielder?
Oh, you know what? It's funny that you bring that up because I had that thought and never said it. Because I said why is PCA automatically the guy when he's a rookie? I see you want to get some play, but Bellinger can play first base too. Michael Bush played second, third. You're trying to trade Nico, like make something else happen, but you're right about Hap as well, except for that the OBP up top is really a great skill, and the veteran leadership. He's a solid player. Anybody would love to get Hap, and you can't trade him. So,
but that's the thing. He's a solid player. He is not a star. He is not anything special, and you can put him at the DH. I hate the DH, and I wish we didn't have to deal with it. But if it's there, use him at the DH up top. Saya wants to play the field because he has a higher upside. Saya would, if you moved him to left field and got him some run, he would probably be better because there's no sun in his eyes.
I don't know, but isn't that where all those problems happened that one day when he had this really big, terrible, awful day in left field? Am I thinking of this wrrong?
I don't know. It might have been, but if you move him one game, yes, it can be a little confusing. But if you practice him out there and have him anyway. Even if you leave him in right and you put anybody else in left, like my point is Ian Happ is not a great fielder. He's a gold glover at left field, but he only goes up against left fielders. They had Bellinger, Tucker, PCA, and even Saya are all better options in the outfield. So why is and this is the thing nobody talks about. Like, we all just assume
because you're stuck.
Ian Happ is your guy.
Well, it would
but
be
he
nice
can sit on the bench or play DH.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, you like the switch hitting bat too, but, I don't know. Ian Happ's just going to be there. He was promised that job. And yeah, Little Yumper says left field usually is where you would hide your worst outfielder, Alou, Soriano, Henry Rodriguez. Exactly. I mean, of course. And so you're just kind of taking up a job from a slugger who just is out there to freaking mash donks, and we've been saying that for years too, because Happ used to play center, if you recall. He was the center fielder. Wasn't that good at that, but.
No, and I'm not saying that he's not fine at left field. He's a perfectly adequate player. It's just that the reason that you put all these guys out there and you build up this team is not to say, well, we really like Ian Happ as a person, we're just going to leave him out there. No, you want the best team on the field that you can have. And if that's not Ian Happ, then don't put Ian Happ out there.
Well, and you can,
if Ian Happ wants to bat 5th, but he's not benefiting the team at 5 the way that he benefits them at 1, then don't let him bat 5. Make him bat 1. Like, I don't know what's going on with Ian Happ. He must be the nicest damn person in the world because nobody wants to tell him what to do.
Yeah, just let Happ have what he wants. It just keeps him happy. Or he's the meanest person in the world, and at the moment he doesn't get what he wants.
He's not good enough to be the meanest person.
Well, I hope we get what we want, and that is a little break right here. So we're going to play a couple quick commercials, and one is for patreon.com/sunranto, even though now it's technically Bleacher Bunch, patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. That is what the address is. But the Sunranto address works somehow. I don't know why. It just keeps working. So you can do that anyway. So we're just going to play a quick commercial, take a little break, and I'm also going to share a link not only to the Patreon site that you should join us on, because there's going to be a lot more quality content on there this year, let me tell you. And but also I'm going to share a link to this show right now, the one we're on right now. If you'd like to come join us this afternoon, we're going to try something new, and maybe we're going to try to do this more in the future, do almost like a radio call-in show, but instead we're going to have the world's first video call-in show where you just click a link to the chat and then we bring you in. And as I said, you don't have to have your video. You can be audio only if you're not somewhere that, or if you're naked or unpresentable or super ugly or, something like that, you don't want to be on there. But like, if you could see us in the way we look, it shouldn't be too bad for you to come on. So we'll be right back. Hashtag chance in the chat if you would. And also subscribe, all the places you're watching this stuff. It helps the algorithm. And we'll be right back.
The Son Ranto Show has hired me, a professional voiceover actor, to tell you why you should become a Son Ranto Patreon patron at patreon.com/sonranto. First of all, it's only $1 a month. And if you can't afford $1, I don't even know that the Son Ranto Show wants you as a listener, because you're too poor to even hang out with anyway. Also, as a Patreon member, you get the Son Ranto Show ad-free, and the Patreon-only podcast called Cubs Pod, which releases daily during the season with bonus episodes all off-season long. Son Ranto Patreon members are also eligible to win a monthly prize, get exclusive Son Ranto Discord page privileges, and there are more perks at every level. Plus, 10% of your Patreon support goes to help the Lost Boys Youth Baseball Program as we give back to our community. So what are you waiting for? Spend your hard-earned money on tickets and beer for the Son Ranto Show by subscribing at patreon.com/sonranto. Otherwise, they'll think you're a poor loser. A big, fat, dorky, poverty-stricken loser. Take it from me and by commanding professional voice, and become a Son Ranto Patreon supporter right now.
If you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his double U. Cody Bellinger smoking dupes. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In the Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch.
Do you ever find yourself longing for long walks and talks about catcher metrics? How about a coffee over run differential? Maybe a candlelit dinner dissecting what exactly is the curious case of Miles Mastrobuoni? If you have, I have just the place for you, the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Come join us. Cubs PS Plus, a Northside numbers game, can be found wherever it is you get your podcasts, and on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Cubs PS Plus, a spin on the baseball metric OPS Plus. Are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go.
Hello, the Son Santos Show, the Chicago Cubs, 69 Best Postcard. Take care.
We are taking care of Ramos, and welcome back to the Son Ranto Show, the 69th best podcast on the Bleacher Bunch and the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by In the Clutch shirts, Matt Kammerer's permanent paintings, and all the super ranchers who support us, especially Blake Beard and his incredible tickets. Thank you, Blake. Rogue Wave Creative. And, of course, the Cubs PS Plus podcast, Mr. Mike Waller, who's a huge part of the Bleacher Bunch. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now. I don't know if anybody's in the mood to join us. Otherwise, me and Michael just keep talking about this crap that we're already talking about. But we have no other plans. You could also maybe give us some ideas of what you might want to talk about in the chat. right now if you'd like as well. But if you'd like to join us, I've just dropped the link in the chat here. I think you can all see that. It's StreamYard. I'll put it up here if you need to type it in. StreamYard.com / is that backslash or / I never know.
That's /.
That's / 82M2E 9UMTW. Your lights are on in the parking lot and you're about to be towed. So David Elliott said he'll be able to join in a few, but please do. But we can keep talking about some stuff like Sammy Sosa, for example, is back.
Exactly.
Is back. What do you think?
I'm all for it. I've always been for Sammy Sosa coming back. I think it's been stupid that he hasn't been a part of this organization in some way, even just showing up for different things. They made the announcement he's going to be at CubsCon, so that's good. I don't know. It'll be interesting though. I think didn't they say something like it might be cutting it a little short to be at CubsCon, and then they did announce it.
He's coming.
Right.
They announced he's coming. I don't think they would have announced that he was back without him being at CubsCon. Right. But that would be something stupid they would do. Sure.
How funny would it be if he didn't show up?
Or it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, sorry, I had I totally forgot I had a wedding that weekend.
Yeah,
it just doesn't come.
Yeah, it just doesn't show up. No, it'll be exciting to see him. Now, what part of CubsCon do you think he'll be on? Like be in? I mean, obviously he'll probably sign autographs or something. He'll be in one of those like big long lines or whatever.
The longest line.
What? And I know, don't they bring back other players and they put them up there and they do a question and answer and they tell stories about stuff? I assume that's where Sammy's going to be. Is he going to want to be out there with? First off, from what I know sort of about Sammy, is he likes to have the attention on himself. Would he want to be out there with 4 other guys, right?
Well, he's going to have to, because at opening ceremonies, they, one by one, they all come out in alphabetical order. So not only is he not going to be first, he's going to be last. But they do the like he'll be announced early in the thing from the players that used to play, the veterans, or not veterans, but the former players, and then they do the whole team. But he will not be announced unless they like do one of those like save the best till last, and
right.
Yeah, out comes Sammy as the last guy.
Well,
I don't know.
And I'm not talking about like just the announcement. I'm talking about when they do the actual talking to players and stuff. You know what I mean? There's usually like 4 guys up at the table and they tell stories. Or are they just going to do the one thing? Like, is he going to be the Dempster show? It's just going to be Dempster talking to Sammy Sosa, and that's the one that you got to get into. Yeah,
and then Little Yumper says that he'll be announced for the Cubs Backroom Hall of Fame, that little dingy hallway.
Yep.
The hallway of fame is what I'm going to call it. I think they'll definitely announce that. What was it? Kerry Wood and Aramis last year, and they made those pins, or was that Dunston? I'm mixing up the years. Dunston was one of the years too.
Yeah.
With Grace. Was that last year? No. That was the year before, I think.
Yeah, Dunston and Grace was the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Aramis and Wood last year. So it's like, it's interesting that that they would do it now. I do want to give credit to Club 400 for making it happen. I really do. And another thing about Club 400, I want to bring this up right now too, because now that it's on my mind, is that Kathy Weedley, who I don't know if you know who she is. I knew her actually from high school. And she's older than me, but she used to coach the women's softball team at my high school, even though she went to that school 20 years before I did, or maybe like a little that. But we knew some of the same people because of that, and she's from out in that area in the northwest suburbs, Arlington Heights. But there was somebody, Denise Vasquez, who was a member of the Club 400 group, and I'm friends with them on Facebook too. They needed a kidney. And as you can see in this picture, There's a Facebook post. Kathy Weedley said, "Hey guys, I did this thing back in November, and I was approved to become Denise's kidney donor." So you see, Denise there says she's got an obvious shirt that they had made up down in Arizona, Cubs fan kidney recipient, and Kathy's sitting right next to her. And then Kathy unveiled her own shirt, which says Cubs fan kidney donor. And Denise gets let in on the fact that now she gets a kidney donor. And then they had a nice big hug, which was beautiful. And I just thought that was so nice. And there they are together with their shirts, kidney donor and Cubs fan kidney recipient. And they announced the entire thing out at Sloan Park in Arizona.
Yeah, that's
so.
And that is really cool. Club 400 has definitely done a lot of good things in the past. And if you're kind of wondering how the Sammy thing, it's not like Club 400 went to the Cubs and got that in. Club 400 just brought Sammy in. And I think it sort of embarrassed the Cubs ownership and front office, right? Didn't it seem like, because all of a sudden then it happens and it's like, oh, you had to give this whatever the apology, but the apology wasn't even all that great. Like it was just, it's corporate apology.
It was yeah, exactly. Well, I did what I had to do to stay on the field, but you understand. I might have done a few things that were a little iffy, but don't worry about it, man. I'm back.
Yep. And I feel like in the past they wouldn't have allowed that to happen, but with Club 400 showing that they could bring him in and he was around, like, I think that just made ownership know, like, we really have to do this. Yeah.
So we do have a caller. If he wants to unmute his mic, David Elliott is here, a super ranter himself. David, welcome to the Son Ranto Show. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm all right.
Yeah. How's it going? So there must have been some impetus for you to call in today and grace us with your presence. What's on your Cubs' mind this afternoon?
Not too much. Was just listening to you guys talking about moves for next year and kind of setting things up and contract lengths and all of that. And, really good ideas about how, we spend enough money, it seems, year over year, but we never spend enough money for the future.
And I think the point that to that point, it's that if you extrapolate down the line, the way that these contracts have been growing and growing and growing, or I should say the dollar has been worth less and less and less as we go down the line, and inflation has been ridiculous with our fiat currency, that some of these contracts, you're like, oh, well, I would never pay that guy $50 million. Well, then down the line, it's like $50 million, like barely gets you a good mansion these days, or something like that. And so spend the freaking money now, set your team up for the long term. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah. And it's the idea of not investing in the long term and not wanting to do anything to keep guys around who could contribute over multiple years.
Yeah. Well, and the idea that, like, yes, they spend money year on year, but it's guys like Kyle Tucker, which Kyle Tucker could be great for this organization to build around for the next 5, 6, 7 years, but they're only going to have him for 1 year. And if that doesn't gel, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't come in and it doesn't gel immediately, then they're going to have to get rid of him, or he's going to walk or whatever. And it's just not going to be what we were hoping. Everything's got to be this like lightning in a bottle. They want so badly to be the Arizona Diamondbacks from 2 years ago, getting to the World Series, Yeah,
you got to get like the top 5% of possible outcomes for anything to work.
Yeah. And they're always playing that lottery ticket and never going deep in where you just get the big star player. And even though Kyle Tucker is a big star player, if they don't try to re-sign him, it'll be the same as the Soto contract. It'll be the same as the Ohtani thing. It's just going to be, and it'll be more expensive next time. And you'll be like, damn it, I should have gotten that deal on that car because now it's twice as much. It's like, well,
and like Cody Bellinger, like there's no reason we could have obviously the trade, hopefully it works out. And I think it wasn't a terrible idea, but you know, he brought in someone who you hoped you could rehab into another quality piece, and he pretty much got there, and now let him walk, let him go, moved him somewhere else.
Real quick too, before I forget to do it, I wanted to put the picture of Kathy and the group of people that gave the kidney to Denise the other day, because in this chat right now is Steve Scher, who is there. He lives down in Arizona. He says here in the chat, such an incredible moment to be there for, inspiring. I agree, it's inspiring. I mean, David, would you give your kidney to somebody?
Yeah,
not to put you on the spot. All right, let me put it this way. Can I have your kidney, David?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a huge moment. But that's what the community that, you know, you're trying to develop, and that's I think what brings us together even more than just the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs are just something to bitch about, but it's all these extra things.
I mean, I don't want any ranters asking for my kidneys, and you know, you guys know my history too, so maybe you wouldn't really go to me first anyway for a kidney. Mine are pretty worn out at this point. But how about you, Cotton? Would you give somebody a kidney? I mean, like a stranger, like somebody that you maybe didn't know, except for like, you know, on a tertiary level, like, you know, a ranter or somebody.
Probably not. I mean, it's a great idea. Like the woman there that donated a kidney. I mean, how
Kathy,
it's amazingly selfless. She's a true hero. When you hear about people being heroes, that's a hero, because it's not even in the moment. You know, like we think of heroes as being somebody who runs into the fire real quick and just makes a split-second decision. No. This is a true hero, because she had to sit and think about it. And then on top of that, she had to go and get all the tests and do all this stuff. And then she knows that for the rest of her life, she will be at a slightly diminished capacity. And yet she made this decision. That's true heroism right there. And
selfless.
I'm not that heroic. I really am not. Like, I'll run into a burning building for you. My kidney, probably not. I'll do things that I don't have to think about real quick, but
yeah, I'll impulsively be burned alive trying to save your cat, but I'm not going to do the log troll where I'm removing a part of my body.
Don't give me a minute to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be like, yeah, I'll give you a kidney, and then I like toss and turn all night, wake up in the morning like, hey, you know what I said about the kidney, and I'm just kind of having some cold feet, you know, some second thoughts here.
You're having cold feet because you have one less kidney. You're
exactly
like your body doesn't work as well.
Exactly. So exactly, I'm getting hypothermia easier.
No,
so
if it was like one of my kids or my wife, or I mean, somebody like that really tightly connected to me, I would probably do it. But there's a lot of
it would have to be inner circle people. Yeah. Nobody should want my kidney anyway, as I said. So don't come looking for it either, because I'm not even going to go see if I'm a match. So back to the Cubs anyway.
You've got a better chance of just getting one of us messed up enough that you can put us in a bathtub and cut it out yourself.
With the ice. Yeah, that's the other way I'm giving you a
I'm imagining Danny in the bathtub, and they've got one scar, or he's got two scars, and there's a sign that says, "We put it back."
We put it back.
Open, took it out. We put it back.
They're like, we can't use this thing. Yeah. But I mean, is that? I guess that must have happened at some point. But you know, it sounds like also an old wives' tale. I mean, you would die if you just.
I don't think that really happened.
Surgery in a hotel. But anyway, back to the Cubs. The Cubs fucking need a kidney. I'll tell you that much. They still feel like they're tinkering around the edges. The one thing I left out of the thing I was going to say about the Bleacher Nation thing, and it's all connected, is that since they went over the tax last year, they're unlikely to do that this year. And so this Cody Bellinger displacement of the money, of moving that money on, all of us were like, oh, well, then go get Corbin Burns. Oh, well, then go sign Alex Bregman. Oh, then do this. They ain't doing any of that shit. They're gonna this. What I told you about before is who's coming. It's Ben Heller and Cody Petit and Vidal Sassoon and
it reminds me of when they went out and they signed Council, and everybody's like, "Oh, that tells us they're going to spend, they're going to go for it." Yeah, they did not go for it. So, yeah.
So what? I mean, David, with the money left that the Cubs have, like, what do you think? Like, is there hope here, or do you let the kids play? Like, what are you thinking?
I just like to see him put some more money into pitching. We need a direction. Like, we need to choose lane. Are we going to let the kids play? Are we going to invest more in now and bring in some leadership? He makes some good points. Like, we've been talking for years about how Ian Happ is a great, solid player, but they never should have built around him. That's going back when they signed him to the extension and kind of made him a centerpiece. It's like he's not the centerpiece of a quality team.
And the only guy out there still that has any worth really from a starting pitcher standpoint that you could sign is Jack Flaherty. And there's issues there too with injury and things. So you don't know really what you're going to get. Then you go down to Kyle Gibson, who's 37 years old. I'm going by WAR here in an article I'm looking at. Justin Verlander's 42. Then you get Nick Pivetta, Charlie Morton's still out there, Andrew Heaney. I mean, Clayton Kershaw is 1 million years old. Scherzer's 40.
Yeah, and Clayton, if the thing you want to do is win in the playoffs, that's not the guy you're signing, because he's a regular season pitcher.
Yeah.
David, what do you think about the Sammy coming back?
It's terrific. I mean, I grew up when Sammy was a star. I mean, the 98-99 season, the resurgence after the work stoppage in 95 and all of that. Like, I remember I was in my college dorm room in the World Series with the Marlins and watched the Bartman thing go down and all of that. And all the teams that had so much possibility. And so that was where I think it's fantastic that he's coming back.
Yeah, I think most people do. I bet you'll hear a smattering of boos that will probably get drowned out by the massive amounts of cheers. Like Ricketts is going to get booed again, but Sammy, he's gonna get the biggest ovation you probably ever heard. People would be freaking psyched.
And Grant, I was at an age at that time where your sports heroes, you kind of put them up on a pedestal and you couldn't see any of their flaws. But I remember running out after 9/11 with the flag, and it was just like these perfect moments. It's like, oh, these guys are infallible. So,
oh yeah, the social media landscape ruined our heroes. That's why the old adage was never meet your heroes. It's because you had no idea what they were like. You just got that filtered image. And then when they went to, when we went to social media and internet and everybody could just post all this stuff and let you know everything about it, it's like we almost can't not meet our heroes. Like, we have to hear all of their thoughts now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Unless they shut up, which
it's pretty rare though.
Yeah. Who's this that just joined us on the show?
This is my son. This is Archer.
Hey, Archer, it's your Son Ranto show debut. We'll keep it clean for a moment.
Yep.
He's used to it.
For you.
Not around the house, but.
Archer, do you like the Cubs?
Did you hear him?
Do you like the Cubs?
Do you like the Cubs?
Kinda.
Us too.
That's how a lot of people are now.
You know Mrs. Barber at school?
Yeah.
Does she like the Cubs?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there are two
Mrs. Barber, what is?
It's one of the kindergarten teachers at his school. She's a big
okay.
Cubs fan.
So she's a Cub fan or no?
She is a big Cubs fan.
Yeah. So he's a kindergartner, which means we have the Cubs have 3 more years, basically 3 to 5 years to become the kind of team that will make Archer a true fan for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, because that's when it happens between 8 and 10 or 11 or something. That's when you get your team and you love all your players and you're too young to really look into anything except for what they're doing on the field. So that's so from now on, that's our deadline. When we talk to Jed Hoyer, what are you going to do by the time Archer Elliott is 8 years old? And he's going to go, what are we talking about?
So David, are you ready to take a spin of the bitch clock? Would you like to it's pretty tame. I think you can pretty much espouse your feelings about any of these topics. Let me just share my screen with you here. It's all stuff we talked about. He's like, oh no, I gotta go drink some water. Get ready. He literally left. So.
No.
All right, he's back. So, but these are pretty fair categories here. There's only 5 of them, and if there's any more that you want me to add right now, let me know. I'm started out with the 2025 Cubs, people who boo Sammy, the private equity Cubs, which that could be a lot of things, going over the tax, and margin signings. So that's what you got to work with here. And if there's anything else, put it in the chat right now as I head back to the wheel of names to give it a spin. Let me know if anybody puts anything in the chat because I'm off that page now.
I'm pretty sure it's my age, but when I see PE Cubs, I immediately think Public Enemy Cubs, and
I'll put private equity. David, do you have anything you would like to add to the wheel of grievances?
No, I don't think so.
This covers it. All right, cool. I'm going to give it a spin. Here we go. It's only 30 seconds you have to go off on this. So, it's the entire team. You just picked the 2025 Cubs in general and who they are to you. Take a deep breath, and you got this in you. I could feel it. Here we go. I'm putting you in the bitch clock seat. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Uh-oh.
It didn't go.
It's not working. It's not good. It's not working. All right, hold on. Let's try this again. Something's wrong with the file or something. All right. I'm gonna try to reshare it. Hold on. I'm gonna get this out of here. No, this is live radio, people.
Yeah.
This is how it happens.
Don't worry, I'll get it. I'll get it up. Here we go. Here it comes. It's coming. It's uploading.
Bitch clock. You have 30 seconds to bitch.
All right, 2025 Cubs. First of all, beer's going to be $5 more, of course, because we got to pay something for all these guys. Second of all, let's hope it's not like second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. Hopefully they can at least, flirt with 90 wins maybe. And just the fact that, we just can't choose what we're going to do. We're going to be talking 2026 Cubs. It's going to be the same kind of play. It doesn't matter how far you take it out. You're not choosing to do anything. Either develop the players that you have and let them get out there and learn how to do it, or decide you're going to try to win now. But right now, we're just choosing to lose now.
Oh, beautiful.
That was excellent.
Landed the freaking ending, too.
That was very good. It seems like you've done that before.
Oh.
No, yeah, exactly. He's a teacher. That's all he does all day.
I definitely like the points you're making here about there doesn't seem to be a direction for the team. And I think we talked about this last year a little bit too. And we were saying, I think at the time, it doesn't seem like there's a plan. And now, so I think this whole directionless Cubs thing is still going on, and I hadn't thought about it for a while, David, and you've brought it back up, and I think you're absolutely right. And it shows you that they don't have a direction when they have 8 outfielders, and then they're signing these margins players and stuff like that because they're not making a plan to go anywhere. You could try to do some of those things, but it seems like they're always being a little bit, I don't know, reactionary. Does that seem right?
Yes.
they're fighting the last war. Is that they got the technology from the last war. They're going in to fight World War I on horses.
It almost feels like the Kyle Tucker signing is a reaction to all the fans saying, "Hey, you gotta go get someone."
They're like, "Okay, we'll get somebody, but we'll trade. But in the meantime, we'll trade Bellinger because you could have had some like righty lefty freaking back to back. You could have had a deep ass lineup some nights, and instead they don't." So they're just not really going for it. And like some of the other teams that you're just like, oh yeah, pencil them in. They're definitely going to the playoffs. Cubs are not that. They're just on the verge of that tier of teams. So it's frustrating. So you got anything to plug before we go to a commercial and come back with Cubstradamus?
My 40th birthday is in April, and I'm going to get a suite at Four Winds Field, and all Ranters are invited. Danny, you and I talked about it a little bit.
Yep.
So,
no, give us that day again, too, so people can pencil it in right now.
I don't have a day locked down yet because I'm talking to the people at Four Winds Field, and they're putting more money into renovating that stadium. The ownership of the South Bend Cubs, Andrew Berlin and all that, they're doing a lot to invest in the city and invest in that team. So, I haven't nailed down a date, but we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, because a minor league team does understand like investing in things that are going to keep people coming back for the future.
Yeah, and like, in a city like South Bend, obviously there's the University of Notre Dame, but in the summer, the South Bend Cubs really do drive a lot of activity. And like I said, Andrew Berlin took over as the owner about a decade ago, and he's really invested a lot. It's a great experience,
Yeah, well, and it's kind of a new thing too. That very rarely do minor league teams, kind of feel like their parent team. Oftentimes, like sometimes they didn't let it happen because they didn't. The owners would be jealous. Well, like, well, what if the minor league team gets more popular than the major league team? Then we can't have that. And so, like, they're always trying to carve it off. It was just stupid, but yeah, I can't wait. That's going to be an awesome event. I'll definitely show up at it. We'll let me know when you're got some dates going, and when we'll put it in the calendar. But thanks for coming on, and it's nice to meet you. Oh, tell me your son's name again. Archer.
Yeah.
Archer, I hope the Cubs have a great season for you, and that you start to like them a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. So, kids are hilarious. All right. Well, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break. Thanks for coming on, David. It was nice talking with you. And we'll do it again soon. Nice to meet you, Archer. And we'll be right back. Here's a commercial for sunranto.com/stuff, where you can buy everything that you normally buy through Amazon and help out the show, and also win a monthly prize. We'll be right back.
Stuff. Hey, Cubs fans, at Amazon.com, do you buy lots of stuff? Why not support the Sun Ranto Show by shopping through sunranto.com/stuff? All you gotta do is fill your cart at Amazon with lots of stuff. Then before you check out with all of that wonderful stuff, head on over to sunranto.com/stuff and click any of our Amazon links before you buy your stuff. Check out like you normally would with all that beautiful stuff. And the Sun Ranto Show will get a small kickback because of the stuff you bought. And you'll be helping the Sun Ranto Show buy all the stuff we need to stay on the air talking about the Cubs and other stuff. Plus, you could win a monthly prize if some of your is chosen for Amazon stuff of the month. And if you win, we'll send you more stuff. Sunranto.com/stuff. That address again is sunranto.com/stuff. If you're like most Americans, you buy shit. Lots of shit. Sometimes you buy shit for other people. Sometimes you buy shit for yourself. And sometimes you buy shit you have to buy just to stay alive. So why not buy shit through the Sun Ranto affiliate? Links at sunranto.com/shopping. We've got tons of shit you can buy. Go to sunranto.com, click on the shopping link, then click our ads and buy shit. We've got Amazon. They've got tons of shit. But you can also buy MLB shit, NBA shit, NFL shit, Fans Ed shit, Southwest Airlines shit, Fanatic shit, Reebok shit, Wine of the Month shit, Beer of the Month shit, Bear Mattress shit, StubHub shit, Lid shit, Sports Memorabilia shit, Volcanica coffee shit, Vibrator shit, Condom shit, Bag shit, NHL shit, and Audible membership shit. There's a whole lot of shit that can help the Son Ranto Show stay on the air so we can keep talking shit. So buy shit today through sunranto.com/shopping. Thanks. Cubs Jesus thinks you're the shit.
We are back here on the Son Ranto Show, and to tell you about it.
This is Fergie Jenkins. You're listening to Sean Rando, the 69th Beth Cup podcast.
Yeah, that's what he sounds like.
We definitely need a Sean Rando shirt.
Yeah, Sean Rando. We'll have to talk to Billy DeVore about that. You know, hey, could you completely misspell our podcast for publicity? That'd be great. So Artie Boucher says, I even purchased my secret ranter gift via the stuff link. So thank you, Artie. That does help out the show. I believe over the Christmas season, we made a little over $13. So that is nearly enough for one beer. Jeff Bezos got a lot more than we did, but hey, he's the one that has the hot wife, Lauren Sanchez.
That's how much a beer costs before you add in the taxes.
Well, I don't know. I can get an entire 12-pack. You get a case.
No, I was
talking
about at Wrigley.
Oh, at Wrigley. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can't. Like $13 doesn't get you there, but I appreciate everybody that does it. It does help out the show. It adds up. Everybody, we actually have a return right now, and Michael, do you smell that? Do you smell
God.
that?
Oh my God!
Hello, boys. How's it going? Cubstradamus in the hizzy.
This is what AI has gotten us. We were so much better off, and then somebody figured out, like, with AI, how to bring smells more openly through the internet, and it's the worst thing ever.
It's literally. Oh, guys, hi. I just wanted to say that I really missed coming into the studio.
We didn't really miss you, Cubs. Yeah, we did not miss you at all. Cubstradamus, when you speak, it doesn't seem like your mouth matches with your words. You know what I mean?
That's because I am just speaking through telepathy and poetry. I've got a poem for you. Would you like to hear it, boys?
I guess.
Will you leave when it's done?
I may leave and I may stay. It is for me to know and you to find out. As Cubstradamus predicts, Danny should start drinking beer because Cubs' winning seasons are here. Rocket was blotto 9 years ago in the Cubs World Champion year. That's right, they're going to be good this year, boys. They're going to be real good. What do you think of that?
I mean, on the one hand, I'm excited, Cubstradamus, that you think they're going to be good. But just like all of your other predictions, why are they so terrible? You want a person to start drinking again? Good Lord.
Well, you remember back in 2016, I was on this show back then too, and Danny was quite the lush. And I believe personally that it had a lot to do with the Cubs' incredible performance in the 2016 year. In Game 7 of the World Series, how many beers did you drink, Danny?
I really don't know, but I was getting beer when that Rajay Davis home run was hit. I was going to get a couple beers. I probably had 10, 11, 12 beers, but I could not get drunk. I could not manage to get drunk in that game.
Oh, but you were, Danny. You were drunk.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of drunk. Anyway, Cubstradamus, I'm not going to start drinking again just so the Cubs win. I will tell you this, though. The last time the Cubs won the World Series is the year I moved into this apartment that I just got kicked out of.
Well, that might be enough to bring it home. But I say you start drinking again.
I will not start drinking.
Oh, come on. You were so much fun when you were drinking.
No, I'm not gonna drink. Michael will do all the drinking for us. How about that? Right,
Yeah.
Michael?
I mean, the good news is that you can't really call this peer pressure, because I would not put Cubstradamus on our level in any way.
Are you saying that I am not your peer? Well, then, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm never coming back.
He got a little upset when. Yeah,
he's quick to anger. That guy, he really is.
Bit of a
no, I'm not going to start drinking. But I do have some announcements about somebody who definitely is starting to drink today, and that is Mai Tai guy. It is his birthday today. Baby New Year. Also, Roger Nielsen, Dan Nielsen's dad. It's his birthday today. Alan Horgan, my great Irish friend. He's a huge Cubs fan. He's a ranter. It's his birthday on Friday, and according to the ranter calendar, tomorrow, Val Capone, the official ranter bartender.
Oh, I haven't heard from Val in a while.
Yeah, we haven't talked to her in a while. It's been a bit. Part of it is because I stopped drinking, so I haven't seen Val in a while.
Right.
You used to see the ranter bartender a lot more than back in the day. So, and I do want to mention that the ranter calendar is officially for sale. I'm going to get this thing printed and sent off in 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to not only buy the calendar, but also to, if you have any pictures that you would like to upload, if you go to the Son Ranto Ranters page on Facebook, there is a there's a link to a Google Drive page. In fact, I'll just get the link right now. There's a Google. Oh, there's already a bunch of pictures in there. That's great. So, since I shared it, I'm going to copy the link and share it here in the chat. And this is where you can upload your photos to maybe be included in the calendar. There's not a lot of room in the calendar. But buy the calendar. It's $30. That's with shipping and everything. Be a part of it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you get your birthday in the calendar. You get your picture in the calendar. We all know when your birthday is. And we look at your picture and we give you a shout out on the show during the year. So it's just a fun thing. We've been doing it since 2018. And this year, Michael Cotton gave me a bunch of quotes from Ricky Henderson, except for one from Bill James, who we hate.
Who was talking about Ricky Henderson. No, yeah. Danny asked me, he's like, hey, he's been doing this for a while. Trying to come up with quotes and stuff all the time is tough. He's like, hey, you got an idea for quotes? And man, of course, with Ricky Henderson passing this last month, like, I think it was like 5 days before his birthday too. He was a Christmas baby. And he died on December 20th. But yeah, I was like, let me look at Ricky. He's always got good quotes. And what do you know? There were more than 12. I got to actually look and just figure them out. There's so many good Ricky quotes out there.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's good because Ricky's, I don't know if you mentioned, did you just mention that he's from Chicago?
No, he was born in Chicago, lived here for like first 2 years before moving to like, I don't know, like Alabama and then Oakland or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he went to high school in Oakland, but he was in Chicago for a while and then before he went there.
And then another great bit of news. Not that Ricky Henderson dying is a great bit of news, but the calendar coming out is a great bit of news. But Joe Johnson, otherwise known as Obvious Shirts Joe, he's having a baby. Well, he's not. His wife Grace is having a baby. But the greatest gift yet, baby boy due April 2025. How's that for an opening day?
Wow, that's pretty great. But again, maybe just showing my age here, but Grace Jones brings up a very vivid picture in my mind when I see that name.
Yeah, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah.
No, she was in Conan. She was Red
Conan,
Sonja.
okay.
Conan, yeah. Conan. Conan the Barbarian. But yeah, she was like, I think she was like a 6'2" super buff, hot black woman with like a mohawk. Like she was awesome.
Yeah, she was awesome. Well, that baby is going to look like something if maybe it's going to be given birth to by a 62-year-old woman who Grace Jones has got to be up there by now. And good for Joe though to find somebody that he fell in love with, even if it is an unconventional relationship and they're a little mismatched in age. But no, I'm kidding.
The baby's going to be named Red Sonja.
So congratulations to him. I do want to make an announcement that the Bleacher Bunch show, we're still putting it together, kind of what all this stuff means. I mentioned it earlier in the show, we're working with Jeff Rogowskis from Bricks Behind the Ivy. We've also got, Sarah Sanchez, IFG, Cotton, Mike Waller. So, and we'll probably add some people to that show depending on what's going on in Cubs fandom. So anyway, Bleacher Bunch show next Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. Also follow us. I've completely changed the Sun Ranto X page. So that Twitter is now, and that's why we're streaming there right now, at Bleacher_Bunch. So we're just kind of leaning into that this year. Sun Ranto does exist still. I didn't want anybody to take that name. So Sun Ranto Twitter exists. It's now the old Sun Ranto Show account, which doesn't exist currently. It's that account, but the name is just Sun Ranto instead of Sun Ranto Show. I figured more people could find me there because we had more followers. Anyhow, it's just a little simpler.
And
Dominic
make sure you reach out.
Ranterfest, yes.
Oh, I was going to say, reach out on Cubes fan at Blueski. Get that Blueski going.
Yeah, we got Blueski going. We got a lot of different kind of news. Bleacher Bunch has a Blueski. Sun Ranto Show has a Blueski. We're Instagram. I've been trying to do more. TikTok is Bleacher Bunch. Been doing a lot more there. Working with Rogowskis to do even more throughout the year. It's always changing the media landscape, so we got to keep up with it. But it's time for TFCs. All right, I've got a big one. And this has to do with, it's a little long and maybe I can paraphrase, is what's going on with me getting kicked out of my apartment. Okay. This is freaking ridiculous. Just want to show what freaking major assholes that Rockwell Property Management is. Okay. So I don't know if you can read this, but this less than 2 months ago, we got a letter that said, "We're thrilled to welcome you to Rockwell Property Management as the new owners of this building. We want to ensure that you feel comfortable and settled in your living space." And then there's a big letter. It says, our goal is to create a vibrant and welcoming community where all residents feel at home. We are committed to providing excellent service, blah, blah, blah. We're excited to build a great community together. Should have any questions and concerns, blah, blah, blah. Then the day before New Year's Eve, we get this letter. "On behalf of ownership and management, we would like to wish you all happy holidays. We would also like to thank you for your patience the past few weeks as we transition the building's operations, blah, blah, blah. Building renovation plans," with a misspelling. There's 2 I's in building and that they put, so they get a little red line there. We have received. Oh.
The word building does have 2 I's, but there's 3 I's.
Three in theirs, yeah. Anyway, they tell me they're gonna terminate our tenancy on April 30th. You can pause to read this if you want to. But they're letting us stay for 4 months, and they kind of brag about it. We've decided that we're going to allow everybody to stay for 4 months, even if your lease is up. Not, "Oh, thank you so much," instead of furnishing us a new one. Then they go on to say they're going to give us a move-out credit of $500 and a renovated rental discount to qualified tenants. When the renovation is complete and the property is approved for occupancy, estimated they're going to give us 5 to 10% below the adjusted market rent to move back into our house. Of course, that'll be 2 years from now. And then they're going to give us $500 more to move back when the renovation is complete as a credit on a per unit basis. And then they said there's also going to be a couple affordable units, because they're really charity people. Probably get a tax break to do all this shit by making 2 of the units. They're forced to do it. And then if you're 60% of the area median income, you get a discounted rent. And anyway, this was from John Simon. There's John right there. His picture's right there. So if you see this guy, anywhere, just please let him know I'd like to have a word with him. But I wrote a letter back to him. I got my own little TFC going. I'm pretty happy about how this came out. And I'm going to be sending it on behalf of the tenants. There's a couple versions that we're working with that other tenants have been in on sending this letter, although I wrote this thing. Anyway, here's my letter back. Dear John Simon and Rockwell Property Management, happy holidays to you and your team as well. Being the holiday season, I, along with my fellow tenants, were surprised to receive an email essentially evicting us from our apartments while many of us are spending time with friends and family during this holiday week. Furthermore, we all recently received a letter from Rockwell Property a few weeks ago stating we're thrilled to welcome you to Rockwell Property Management and saying we are excited to get to know you and build a great community together. Rockwell's complete turnaround in sentiment seems incredibly sudden and, frankly, heartless, especially during Christmas time, unless Rockwell Property is playing the part of Potter in It's a Wonderful Life. Rockwell's welcome letter in November said to tenants that you want to ensure that you feel comfortable and settled in your living space. I can assure you that the tenants of 821 Montrose currently do not feel settled as you attempt to displace dozens of families in a very short time frame. Many tenants have lived here for decades. Though we appreciate your desire to renovate our apartments, we are far more settled and comfortable when not being removed from them. Thank you for your offer to allow the tenants to return to our apartments after the planned renovations. We have already built the great community you hoped for in your welcome letter over many years of living here, while working together to keep this building humming. Of course, we would like to return to the exact same apartments that we currently live in, so it would make us feel more comfortable and settled if you would provide tenants with a legal contract entitling us to the right of first refusal to our apartments if we should wish to move back in. Also, please outline in this contract what timeline you foresee for the planned renovations, the exact rate of the market rate discount, and a range for what you consider market rate rent for our newly renovated apartments. Tenants would also like rights of first refusal to your affordable apartments, as I know many of us qualify. Although we tenants would prefer you just keep our current apartments affordable and skip the renovations, as many of us have already done our own renovations and updates, which is true. I said, thank you for the $500 move-out expenses and move-in expenses. Paraphrase here, but that is not nearly enough to pay for the added expenses and the lost time for our jobs and the hours of packing. And I'm sorry, but moving of movers, do you know how much that costs? It ain't $500. It's more like thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, it's
starting. Not only that, I chastised them saying that, they have over 4,400 units. We had the guy that lives downstairs. He wanted to, he's like, well, can you move us into one of your other buildings? They told him no, and that they don't have any, vacancy for him right now. He's like, well, in 4 months, you might. No, they just were like, no, you've got to apply like everybody else. So not only are they displacing people, they're not finding anywhere else for all these people to go. Numerous people are of different ages and stuff like that. And I also, this is something that happened a few years ago, and I will drop the link to it in the chat. But a few years ago, I was featured because our landlord who sold this building to these people, I was featured in an article about our rents going down because our landlord gave us a break because people were having trouble during COVID. So if you want to check out this article, it's in the Chicago Tribune. I just dropped a link for it in the chat, but I'll put up the picture of me on that front page. Do I have it here? Oh, I don't. I thought I did. Sorry. Anyway, I dropped the link to the article, and I went on to say, you have a passion for developing undervalued properties. That's what it says on their website. I said, well, guess what? Undervalued, I can guarantee that the people who live here already value them very much. You can pause to read this stuff. And lastly, I said, my apologies for requesting the above administrative actions on your part on a national holiday. I would have waited until after the holiday week, but given your gross financial miscalculations and the short amount of time allotted in your plans, it is necessary to act immediately, even if it means working during the most wonderful time of the year. Sincerely from Pottersville, Danny Rocket and the residents of 821 Montrose. So fuck you guys. Fuck Rockwell Community Management, the original TFCs. And if they don't think that I'm not going to make a fucking stink about this and tweet about this and blow up this motherfucker and his dumbass fucking face, who can just so on Christmas fucking come through and start and kick fucking dozens of families out without having me push back a little bit and, give you a black eye on your way out and go to the press. And I've already contacted the Tribune who wrote that article about our building, and they can do a follow-up article about our building and how private equity not only is ruining the Chicago Cubs, they're ruining entire neighborhoods because they do this all over the city, and they're not the only ones doing this. The tenants have got to fight back. Renters have got to fight back. These people are destroying communities. Fuck you, Rockwell partners, and John Simon and your whole fucking team of fucking parasites.
Yeah.
Fucking parasites coming in undervalued. Fuck you. Fuck you, Rockwell.
Undervalued
get
meaning,
as many people.
Yeah, undervalued meaning we can charge more for this. Like, it's not undervalued now, but based on what we think we can get, it's undervalued.
Yeah.
And
oh, by the way, I found the picture. This is me on the front cover of the real estate section on a Sunday a few years back during COVID. So, I'm hopefully there's some follow up. I know that the block club maybe wants to get involved. They're a little bit more left leaning than the Tribune. But there's not a lot of leftist press out there that would give a shit what happens to renters when capitalists, rule the day right now. We just have no hope. It's also too expensive to buy. So don't tell me, well, you should just buy your own place. Well, guess what? That costs about triple what I pay in rent currently to buy a place similar to what I would need. So that's just not how it works for the average person, because I make the average American. Me and Nicole together have the average, the median income of an American coming into this house. We can't afford to buy an apartment on a median income. They won't even approve us. So, or they might not even approve us for a rental. So these freaking parasites that are coming in here and doing this shit, they're going to ruin America. And eventually they're just going to destroy the entire society, and we won't have a country anymore because everybody's renters and the American dream will then be dead. So, and their renters paying 50 to 75% of their income in rent to assholes like this guy who looks like a dickhead.
He really does.
Fuck you, John Simon, and fuck you, Rockwell. Eat my fuck for all time. Fuck you. Eat my fuck. But I did enjoy this. Hopefully I don't make this. I'm not turning anybody off here. I don't care. This is Son Ranto show. This is affecting me personally. I feel like entitled to rant. Little Yumpers' capitalism is shit. I mean, not all aspects of it. I mean, if we're talking about markets, people don't realize that, like, when you talk about the difference between capitalism is as a way, like supply side, there's different forms of it, but like markets themselves will always exist. We've been trading as humans for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So, and before any of this shit, before communism or capitalism, like we're talking about really just like how we want to be as a society, with each other, because some douchebag is going to take over my place. And CZ's World says, you should calculate how much it would cost them to evict and refuse to move out unless they pay you a similar amount. That's what would happen in New York. Is that these guys would buy you off probably to the tune of like between 30 to 50 grand to get you out of there because they can make a lot more money with you gone. They don't actually have to give us anything if they don't want to. Dominic says it's happening everywhere. Yeah. And that's why I'm standing up this time. Like, because if it was just like, oh, well, we'll just move and it's the same price. They want to do that to this place. This sucks. But, we can't find anything for remotely the same price in the neighborhood that we've lived in for a decade and a half. And, sad for me, but whatever. But it's happening everywhere. And that's why I'm considering going more public with this, because if for whatever reason somebody would want to pick up the mantle and maybe give me some press, give our building press, give our story some press, I'm willing to be the guy. I'm willing to stand up and be like, fuck you guys. Now, I'm not willing to do things like just squat here. I've got a freaking life I've got a job. I got a life. I got, because that's what happened in New York. That's what Rent is about. The show Rent, about all the squatters that were in these buildings that were literally abandoned. That's not the case here. This was just a place owned by an old lady sold to a freaking private equity real estate development firm who's just heartless and literally Potter. They are literally Potter in It's a Wonderful Life doing what Potter does. And guess who the fucking enemy is in It's a Wonderful Life? It's Potter. Yeah. So if they think that anybody's going to be on their fucking side, if this gets rolling, they're fucking sorely mistaken. So, and they're not going to be able to pay me enough to shut me up at this point.
Yeah.
50 grand I'll take. I'll take 50 grand to shut up. But I want 50 grand for every goddamn person in my fucking building to get out and that's a down payment on an apartment if they can afford it. That or close. It's not even. It's about 50 grand would be about half a down payment on a 2-bedroom apartment in this neighborhood. Yeah. If you can find it. And it's a basement. It's not even somewhere you want to live. Anyway, these fucking assholes. And it does tie in with the Ricketts to me, because it's their fucking fault that they make Rickettsville, and I'm living a mile north. Don't get it twisted. It is all connected, my friends. It is all connected as that just like equity. And half these fucking storefronts are closed anyway. There's nobody even in there. There's a goddamn motherfucking daycare center across the street that they built, that I lived through the building. You know what the high rise I'm talking about, right, Michael? That they built this kitty corner. It's across the street. There's a daycare center as part of that. It has been empty for 2 years. There is no daycare center. It's called like Ray Day Soul or something like that. Nobody's in there. It didn't work. This is all just conceptual ideas, and nobody lives in that fucking apartment building either. Certainly not enough. It's not full. And there's all these high rises going up everywhere. And these assholes, they follow each other into neighborhoods and they remake it before it's time. They kick everybody out. I've lived through this in New York, and people got to stand up, and I'm not talking about stand up, but like they did in Tompkins Square Park where they had riots and shit. But it's going to come to that because they built all these goddamn high rises. And meanwhile, there's more tent cities in the park. Yeah. So fuck you guys. Fuck all of you.
And all of this, in like somebody said earlier, is happening everywhere. Iowa City, it's happening here. We have this Barkalow person that has been buying up all the buildings in Iowa City and then raising rents to force whoever's in it out. Like, and this is for the shops and all the stuff, but he'll raise the rents, force the business out. And then, like you said, they just sit there empty. We have all these empty shop fronts in this town. And it's like, that's what's going to destroy the town is empty buildings or empty shop fronts and nothing being there, because you don't want to move somewhere where all that stuff is empty and there's nothing to do, nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did in Uptown. If you go walk down Wilson Avenue, there was Godfather's Pizza. There were tons of little shops. I mean, they were the kind of shops that you would expect in the old Uptown. Smoke shops, little delis, 7-Eleven, all, and then they just wrecked it all. So, and Dominic brings up, didn't the Torco Emis Catuli building get torn down too? Yes, it did. And you remember that pissed off Joe Obvious. He was like, because that is the fabric of this neighborhood. And, they're going to come in here. And I bet you the apartment's real nice. They'll put laundry in. They'll put 2 bathrooms sometime, open floor plan and all this fucking stupid shit that people don't really want, by the way. And they'll put up all these like Mick apartment buildings that go up in about a month and a half, made with illegal labor, by the way, 9 out of 10 times, because I see it with my own goddamn eyes. And I know the building behind me is the same thing. 2 years it took for them to renovate this thing. So it's going to be 2 years before they get this thing online. And by that point, who the hell knows, So Tom says, who's my alderman? She's in trouble right now. And my neighbor already went to her, and she said, there's nothing you can do. And Little Yumper says it's gentrification, moving lower middle income out for the wealthier residents. That I agree with that. That's what they're trying to do. My point is that it's not working.
Yeah, because the wealthier people have been scared away by every news broadcast ever in the last 10 years has only been there to say Chicago is dangerous. Look out for Chicago. Don't go to Chicago. It's so dangerous. So anybody who has 2 dimes to rub together are like, well, I don't want to go to Chicago. It's dangerous. And yet they're renovating these buildings. They're going to try and get these people to come in, and they're not going to want to because the other thing that they own, which is the media, tells them it's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, and, eventually, I think that, if you take in population growth, they probably all will be filled. But the uptown, and moving up north, and I don't want to get into it totally on this show, but there's all these giant high rises or mid rises going up, kind of like the ones that are replacing that Torco building. They're building those on every corner. In fact, did you know Holiday Club on Irving Park and, what is and Sheridan or Sheffield, whatever, depending on where you are on that street, it's getting, that entire block is getting torn down, and they're building a giant building. So my friend Tony, we all know Tony, this guy that our friend from the bleachers who had the stroke recently, he looks this stuff up online. He goes, Uptown is fucked. They're just knocking down everything they can and building up one of those big old ugly buildings. And there's one that opened up on Sheridan, just north of there, empty, been empty for a year. Nobody lives there. They want $3,000 for a 2-bedroom, and it's a postage stamp. It's not even 800 square feet.
Oh my God.
And nobody's doing it. So they're ruining everything, and they need to be told, and I will be the one to tell them, I hope you all support me. So retweet my shit when I start going out there and coming at these guys hard, because I haven't even sent the email yet. But, I plan to do some of these empty storefront projects. I'm going to show you the empty storefronts. I'm going to show you what they do. I'm going to put up signs saying Rockwell Property Management are parasites.
The weather report.
In the weather report.
Which way is the wind blowing, Danny?
Yeah. Well, exactly. The original weatherman was all about this kind of thing, the weathermen, and I'm not going to do what they did, but but I'm going to use my truth bomb words, because nobody is going to be on their side except for my cousin Billy, who is also a landlord and already told me he's on their side. I'm like, fuck you, Billy. Yeah. Fuck you, Billy. Nobody likes him. He's the black sheep cousin, whatever. So he has not watched the show. Please send him this clip, though. He can't. No, I'm not going to get into Billy. But anyway, I do have. Did you have any other TFCs? Because that seemed like a plenty of a TFC for the show.
Yeah, well, I have one, and
2 hours,
and it does relate to the show. It's one about Sammy Sosa, and it came out right after the whole apology thing. This guy, Bear Mountain Picnic, says over on Blueski, nah, fuck that, Sammy. You hit dongs. You were genial. You gave us 1998. I have some questions about the bleaching, but it's none of my fucking business. I loved that he's on Sammy's side. You didn't have to do that apology. I do have a few questions about your bleaching.
Well, there he is as White Jesus.
Yep.
I do have this TFC that I wanted to get out. And that is, you remember we had Steve Trout on the show selling his pillow mitt that never came in the mail. And now we're in a fight. But this is Steve Trout. He was really hoping for some, last minute Christmas gift. Although he was posting this stuff on December 19th. I'm like, you're not going to get this to anybody by December 19th. It's he thought of it last minute. He's like, oh, I should have tried to sell these pillow mitts after Halloween, but I got to it late. So there he is. And he's tweeting out on Facebook, Facebooking out. He says, this is the greatest travel pillow you'll ever need. And he makes these videos where he does a little demonstration. Please follow him. Please go check these out. They're so entertaining. I can't even stand it. Then somebody wrote underneath his demo here, they said, you pay tariffs for it. You pay tariffs for it. And then I like this too, because it's perfect under the picture. John Barack says, something tight around my head is not very comfortable, Steve. And then look at the picture.
It looks like that. It looks like that pillow is choking him to death. Like he's fighting off the pillow.
Yeah. So go get yourself a pillow mitt. They are for sale. And then the last one I have is this one. This is outside of DraftKings the other day. God, I love this. This is a picture that I had to take a picture of this. This is right on one of those like little electrical boxes that's right across from the DraftKings sports book at Wrigley Field. It says, DraftKings kills time travel research. And I read that. It took me a moment, but it came. Yeah. And I'm also really excited to just final announcement here. Oh, hashtag chance in the chat. We are doing that tonight. Or today. Hashtag change in the chat. I made these, Michael. I made these Bleacher Bunch stickers. They all link to different places, our Spotify cast, our Apple podcast, our YouTube channel, and also our new website that's coming at bleacherbunch.com. So I'm super excited.
Those are beautiful. Love them.
What's coming. Yes. So this will be fun. You'll be seeing these all over Wrigley because I ordered 3,000 of them.
Holy crap.
So get to work. So hashtag chance in the chat. Why don't we pick a winner right now? Let's see who we got here. It's the first winner of the new year, and I don't know what the big prize at the end is, but I had a lot of stuff to give away at the. No, actually, I want to keep this to be the prize for the ultimate chance winner because Artie Boucher won the ultimate chance this last time, and I'm going to keep the prize being I will write you a custom song, whether it be a parody or a original, I don't really care. I'm down for either. So that's going to be the big prize at the end of the year. Maybe something else too, but that'll be the big prize. So here we go. We're picking a winner. Hashtag chance. It's your last hashtag chance to get into the hashtag chance. Here we go.
Oh, look at him spinning through there.
The first winner of the year.
I swear I saw Sammy Sosa's face in there.
Alfie Campos. Congratulations. Watching us on YouTube.
Picture, Alfie.
Yeah. That looks like it's from 2020.
Yep.
Because he's wearing a mask. So what was that? Somebody screaming?
I don't know what's going on. I think maybe they're watching football in there. I don't know.
Okay. Or playing a board game or something. Somebody just won Monopoly.
Things are happening in my house that I am not aware of. Oh, Alfie says it's his birthday too.
Congratulations, Alfie. Well, you are the winner, and I will be contacting you for your address so I can send, because I'm not sure if I have it or not. But anyway, I will be contacting you, and I will send you a Frank Chance postcard with a message of love and or doom. Everybody's saying congrats. Tom Cooper was here. Bernie Barron is here. Happy New Year to you all. David Elliott, thanks for coming on the show, hanging out with us.
Great talking to you, David.
And Dominic Artie's here. Tom Cooper's here. I already said Dominic. CZ's World, Terry E. All you guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to do this more at different random times. We don't know. We're restructuring, and it's awesome. So it just means more good stuff happening. That's all it means. I'd like to thank our Patreon supporters and subscribers at patreon.com/bleacherbunches, where you become a part of it. Especially our super duper ranters, Blake Beard, Rogue Wave Creative, and Mike Wallen of the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Our Patreon prize sponsors, Matt Kammerer and Permanent Paintings and the Etsy store and the In the Clutch shirts brand. Thanks to all of the great shows on the Bleacher Bunch Network, which are Cup of Cubby Blue, Cubs PS Plus, Baseball Rabbit Hole, Bricks Behind the Ivy, Cubs Pod. And today, there's a new one, which is a John Pincus worst case scenario, which I put out this morning to get the new year started. Recorded that. John wrote it, and I recorded it this morning with a voiceover and some music and stuff. It came out pretty good. Find us on all the podcatchers. Leave us 5-star reviews. Really does help the show as we try to get this new Bleacher Bunch thing going. And if you go and make a review, and you can, would you mention all the shows? Be like, this is awesome. It's a Cubscast collective. This give an idea what we're doing here because it's new, right? It's like the CHGO podcast, except for only Cubs. Whereas like CHGO has multiple sports, we have multiple podcasts and points of view talking about the Cubs. So it's like a Cubs family, what we're trying to do. And you're a part of it out there in Ranterland too. So that's the whole point. And what else? Find us, like this show right now, click, subscribe, all that stuff. It all helps us. I always forget to say stuff like that. And I guess stay tuned for a John Pincus's worst case scenario. This is going to be awesome. And then I will play a song after that, which is, I think, appropriate Our Year. If you know
nice.
that word.
Yeah, I love
cover.
Our Year.
It's from when we won the World Series so long ago.
Happy New Year, Danny. Happy New Year, Ranters.
Happy New Year.
Bugong.
Spoo freaking gog. Here's a picture, and here's John Pincus's worst case scenario and Our Year.
Why do bad things happen to good people? Why? Nobody knows. That's why here on the Son Ranto Show, we Pincus's worst case scenarios. John Pincus's worst case scenarios.
The calendar reached the middle of May, and Mitch Rosen was worried. Naturally, it wasn't about the mediocre Cubs of 25. It was due to Pat's 70th. He had figured out a good gift. He Googled doily sweater pattern and Werther's original in a big blue bag without any success. Etsy just had a tin box of 2 ceramic milk jugs pouring their milk into a single stream with a Bavarian-looking town in the background. Mitch heard the jokes coming from 2 old men in his head along with the fake laugh of a middle-aged man. He closed his laptop in frustration. Then he had a brilliant idea. A sweater microphone cover. It would be hideously perfect. There was a problem. Mitch couldn't really sew buttons on his sport coat, let alone make a custom microphone cover made of multicolored pieces. There was a solution. Her name was Trinity. She was a veteran at the score in their technical department. She was well known at the office for her trinkets, including hand-sewn figures of pets, baseballs, cacti, and beer cans. Some of these trinkets would glow slightly in the correct light. She wore the same brooch every day, of 2 hands, one holding a needle, the other holding thread. Trinity kept to herself and the frequency of radio waves being transmitted, but it didn't take much prodding from Mitch for her to make the microphone cover. The only complaint was the 10-day deadline. Pat had always been kind to her, like he was to everyone in the office. Pat Hughes' 70th birthday celebration took place at Wrigley on May 27th when the Rocks came to town. It was 2 days after his actual birthday due to Memorial Day and playing in Cincinnati. It was a cloudy, overcast night game. The sweater microphone cover was presented to Pat by Coombe right after he said, "Chicago Cubs baseball is on the air." It was indeed a felt microphone cover made of sweater pieces, and if you stared closely, it was glowing. Pat was delighted. Mitch was relieved. Pat being Pat, he talked about the uniforms of the players. Nothing appeared different till he described how Ian Happ's belt was black. It was blue before Pat spoke. When Pat described how the lights were taking full effect, they really did take full effect before the sunset. Full of hope, Pat talked about how the air would be clear and sunset would be beautiful. Both happened immediately. There was a jump in Instagram traffic to show off this gorgeous sunset over Wrigley. Zach Zaidman watched on, sensing his opportunity. It came like it did every game, in the 5th. When Chris Bryant hit the ball well, Zach said it was a no-doubter. The ball gained speed while sailing next to the Wintrust sign out onto Waveland Avenue. It was KB's first home run of the season. There was a murmur in the crowd of confusion. Zach was now well aware of his power. During the break, he pulled up 8 prop bets. He made sure they all came true in the bottom of the 5th. And while Nico Horner struck out after 3 pitches for a plus 1,500 bet, Zach let everybody know he will soon be replacing Jimmy Kimmel and will become the most beloved late-night host in America. This soon ended up being in 6 months. Celebrations being celebrations, 670 The Score worked with Marquis to allow Pat to call the remainder of the game on TV, and Boog switched to the radio to pay respect to the Hall of Famer. To prevent any AV issues, they left the microphones in their respective booths. So Boog just moved into the radio booth and spoke into the sweater microphone cover. 3 new stats became the norm of the baseball world after these 3 innings. Boog became an investor in dead stock due to his insistence on knowing what is hip in the shoe game, but the most surprising sentence happened in the 8th. Newly acquired yet newly despised Pete Alonso came to bat looking for his 4th home run. Boog mentioned how he is going to wake up tomorrow morning with all his weight redistributed to look like a younger, fitter Pete Alonso. Moreover, Boog described how he will hit better than Barry Bonds in the early 2000s. Naturally, everything came true, and Pat's sweater microphone cover was shipped to Cooperstown to be placed in the Your Team Today locker for the Cubs. It was slightly glowing. Boog took an extended leave of absence due to his newly shaped body. Finally accepting his fate, he made a trip to the batting cages. The batting session was so incredible it went viral. With Jed Hoyer searching Monster.com for a new job, the Brewers reached out to Boog to hit a secret batting practice in Milwaukee. And even though Boog was in his 50s, he hit 60% of the balls out of Miller Park. He was signed on the spot and sent to their facility in Phoenix. The rest was baseball history. Boog Sciambi debuted at age 55 in June of that year. He won Rookie of the Year, while the Brewers won their first World Series. The next 10 years, he won 9 MVPs with a career OPS of 1.612. The Brewers would win the World Series 7 more times during this period. It was all going swimmingly for the Brew Crew till Pat Hughes' sweater microphone cover was removed from the Cubs' Your Team Today locker at the Hall of Fame. As it was placed in a box for future use, the glowing ceased. This was during the off-season of '36. Boog just retired on the spot as the weight returned to its original form. He returned to the booth and was careful to avoid full-body shots. Naturally, the Cubs didn't make the playoffs during this stretch of Brewers' dominance. The only silver lining was that Zach Zaidman was fired from Zach Zaidman Live, since he wasn't funny anymore.
Why do bad things happen to good people?
Why?
Nobody knows. That's why here on the Son Ranto Show, we Pincus's worst case scenarios. John Pincus's worst case scenarios. Why do bad things happen to good people?
Why?
Nobody knows. That's why here on the Son Ranto.
For the Cubs, we were down 3-1. But this year was our year. Took a long time to come. Took game 5 at Wrigley, headed back to Cleveland. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget how you came back while rain was falling down. The championship, what Hayward said in the locker room, gave you the strength to play on. Now we're there and we've only just begun. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. In the top of the 10th, the Cubbies scored 2 runs. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. No more Billy Goat curses or blaming Bartman. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget how you came back while rain was falling down. The championship championship. What Hayward said in the locker room gave you the strength to play on. Now we're there and we've only just begun. Cause this year was our year, took a long time to come. And we've only just begun, cause next year is our year.